This year's Oscar race starts off with a bang as its hottest and most controversial contender opens first. You're watching Beyond the Trailer's review of The Master.
He's been writing all night. You seem to inspire something in him.
What we will do now will urge you toward existence within a group, society of family.
Good science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
And this is where we are at. To have to explain ourselves. For what? The only way to defend ourselves is to attack.
Is the Oscar race over before it even begins? Paul Thomas Anderson's first movie in 5 years is so feverishly anticipated by cinephiles that it's the buzz of the industry and was one of the hottest tickets at the Venice Film Festival where it just premiered. And speaking of the Venice Film Festival, the jury was so blown away by The Master that they ended up giving it too many awards. See, rules state that no film can win more than 2 major awards, so after much deliberating, the jury gave Best Director to Anderson and split the Best Actor award between Joaquin Phoenix and Philipp Seymour Hoffman. They'd wanted to give it Best Picture as well, but hey, rules are rules, and they can be somewhat circumvented by leaking this story anyway. So now that some people have actually seen The Master, what are they saying? Well, the word is that it's even more confusing than last year's The Tree of Life, yet also even more beautiful. Critics are singling out sequences, such as Phoenix's brief stint as a department store photographer, as the most magnificent they've ever seen. Yet when considering all those sequences strung together, they're at a slight loss for words, and not in a good way. Nevertheless, the universal verdict is that Phoenix is a lock for a Best Actor nomination, if not an outright win. Pretty good for a guy who self-destructed on Letterman just a few years ago and was sued along with Casey Affleck for sexually harassing the producer of their documentary, I'm Still Here. But will The Master indeed sweep the Oscars, considering this uber-early release date and a slew of formidable contenders waiting in the wings? Some had wagered that the all-powerful Hollywood puppet masters behind Scientology would work to blacklist the film. Yet word is that The Master isn't actually about Scientology at all, and even if it shares some similarities, they are far from damning. Yet if The Master isn't about Scientology, what's it about? We'll see if such questions get in the Academy's way come next year, as they potentially seek to appease those who feel Paul Thomas Anderson's There Will Be Blood was robbed for Best Picture against No Country for Old Men. I'm one of those people. But while we wait for the Academy's response, let's go see if audiences agree this film is The Master or a case of the Emperor has no clothes. So, this movie, Joaquin Phoenix's character is very emotional. What's your gut reaction to the film?
It's disturbing.
I'm not really sure what to think yet.
Oh, really?
I'm really not.
Like in a good way?
In a good way.
Oh, good. Okay.
And he's probably my favorite filmmaker.
What did you like about it?
The acting. The acting by Phoenix and Hoffman were off the charts.
I felt very sorry for him. He was very lost, and it was an incredible performance. He really drew me in.
I might not think this later on, but maybe dragged a little bit, or he was unsure what to do here or there in terms of narrative.
The big surprise is that this movie is not an expose of Scientology. What would you say it's about?
Well, I don't know. The film is about the relationships we have with mentors, like the title is The Master, and pretty much it examines how that we're not. I'm still actually trying to get my head around it.
That's
too.
good.
I have to think about that. I guess it's a certain amount about lost people who find somebody that. What I didn't understand is what the attraction was between the Master and this young guy.
I don't think it has a message. It's just a really good
I
film.
was just sitting in the theater for a while and just trying to, after it was over, trying to figure out what I just saw, and I really enjoyed it though.
Do you think you'll see it again?
Oh, definitely.
No,
say it again?
I think
No?
it was long, and I think it was not tedious, but it was a long movie, and I'm tired. I wouldn't see this kind of film
And
again.
what did you think of it being in 70 millimeter?
It looks so big. Is that how it was supposed to look? It was huge.
Yeah, and it's not digital at all. It's shot on film.
No, I like that. It was great.
There's still something about chemical emulsion that catches clouds, sunsets, and seascapes that digital...
Was it worth seeing in 70 millimeter?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It was much more clear. Digital, it's everything you can do in post-production, but film is really, you can tell that their heart is in it when they put it on film.
It looked amazing. I don't know how different it would look digitally. I'd have to see it digitally, which I probably will end up seeing it.
Which film did you like better, There Will Be Blood or The Master?
There Will Be Blood.
Okay, cool.
Personally, I didn't like There Will Be Blood that much. It was okay. This is much better.
They're actually kind of the most similar of any of his movies, so off the top of my head, I'd probably have to say There Will Be Blood, but this could be a grower.
What would you say to mainstream audiences who are maybe a little bit hesitant to see the film because it's unconventional?
I would say if you're looking for something different and away from the norm, this is definitely a picture that'll get you thinking.
I would say that this is a really good movie for them to start seeing less conventional movies with.
I don't think it's that strange. There's a little bit of sex, there's a little bit of dancing, there's a little bit of argument. It's just a really good story about a man adrift.
What do you give it on a 1 to 10?
7.
8.
I would say about an 8 or 9 right now.
I give it a 10 for the acting. It's just great.
Let me go with 3.5 stars, sister.
Okay, all right. So The Master is playing here on 2 screens. It's very crowded, but a lot of people don't want to talk about the film right away because they're still wrapping their heads around it. But some brave people did talk to us, and as you can see, they hesitantly give the film an 8.5, but they're still going to think about it. Clearly, The Master is going to spark a lot of discussion this Oscar season, and hope to leave your own thoughts about the film down below. And also a huge thanks to Village East Cinemas for inviting us as their guest this week to their historic theater here in downtown New York. You can check out their website to learn more about the theater at villageeastcinemas.com. I'm Grace Randolph, and hope to go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.